covering all your favorite parts of the 50-yard fight. This is the Inside the Walls podcast with Zach Heilman and Jim Mernier.
How about that hype video, huh? How about it? Hey, welcoming in fans of the 50-yard fight. This is the Inside the Walls podcast. Zach Heilman in here, as always. Of course, alongside my good buddy, good pal, good co-host, the man on the opposite end of the screen. It is Jim Mernier, as we are going to kick things off with our episode 84 as we begin our team previews leading up to the 2023 NAL season. Remember, one by one, each week we bring a new preview of the 7 NAL rosters as well as their schedules. So if you see on screen right now, you realize today you are watching the Mustangs, but there are plenty others ahead on the roster, including next week where we got the Warbirds. We're not talking Warbirds today. We're talking about the Fayetteville Mustangs, who, well, we'll get into that schedule. A little bit of little quick preview. That's the thing. That's all right. Jim, how you doing, man? How's the world treating you? A few weeks away. The NAL season's closer than you think, buddy. It's not too far off.
We're technically 8 weeks away. You got the 7 weeks of the pre-games for every team. So if you're listening to this and you're from other cities in the NAL, we're not going to talk about you guys. Today is 100% fully Fayetteville Mustangs. So I know we'll have some listeners out there be like, oh man, I want them to talk about the new signings here. No, this is Fayetteville's episode, and we'll, as you saw the past schedule, we'll end the preview series with the defending champions. So the following week after that will be kickoff of the 2023 season. It's amazing that the offseason went by fast, and that happens when, the NFL's playing. That makes the offseason go quick. And it's, we're getting into the Fayetteville talk. So, again, to the listeners, thank you. Remember us, follow us at NWalls Pod on all social platforms, Instagram, Twitter, Facebook, YouTube, everywhere we're at. We're pretty active. And also, if you're new to the arena game or the arena sport, remember, follow the Fayetteville Mustangs at Mustangs NAL, and also their website. Go visit them at FayettevilleMustangs.com. So there's a lot of things to look forward to, especially this episode. We have on mobile Kendrick Ings interview. We do want to full warn you with that interview later. There were slight technical difficulties as he is traveling to Maryland from North Carolina. Don't know what for, maybe for family events, but he does break out of the signal here and there. But we had him on the show today to talk about the Fayetteville Mustangs, what maybe teasing a reveal of jerseys coming. There's a lot of positive vibes coming, and a lot of his goals, especially a crucial couple matchups this year between a team in the same state that he circled this calendar for. So we got that. We're going to break down a couple of the player teams and the key games of the week. So this is Fayetteville 24/7. No, we're not going to talk about Fayetteville all day. Podcast dedicated to Fayetteville Mustangs. This is their time to shine. They're the expansion team. As everyone knows, they were announced earlier this offseason as the expansion team to name actually it was called Fayetteville for a couple of weeks before the actual name was dropped. So the news is starting to pick up. They have a credible especially opening game, home game, week 2 against Jacksonville. Week 2.
Yeah, your Sharks are traveling over there. They'll be playing the Coliseum. So
this is for you Fayetteville fans, to the people in North Carolina who are being introduced to the game. This episode is for you. I am Jim Mernier. That is Zach Heilman. This is Inside the Walls podcast. This is a podcast dedicated to the National Arean League and its 7 organizations. So with that, Zach, let's talk.
Yeah, I mean, so home of arena football, and as I just am now checking on the website for the NAL. This is new for us, by the way. I'm bringing this up as we're talking. Home of arena football, home of Ironman football, home of the arena nets, by the way. Only league in the country right now that is running the nets. True arena football is back, and you're going to get that with Fayetteville here as well. So we're thrilled. They're going to be entering in at a pretty much a prime time for this sport getting its legs even further under itself. And we're excited to see where they're going. Get things underway. Let's talk about the Mustangs. So 2023 Mustangs. We've had our takes on this, but remember, this is their preview episode, just kind of talking about the organization. So again, here's what you need to know, I guess, right off the bat. You have Coach Charles Gunnings, of course, who is going to be heading up the entirety of this roster. He is a very experienced coach who has coached several other indoor leagues in the Fayetteville area, so he is definitely a local guy himself. You're going to have, of course, likes of Ben Pippin, who's going to be running and managing the team as well. Remember, owner is going to be Dr. Robert Twaddell out there. They have been gearing up, as Jim has said, setting up things for their home opener, which is going to be a massive tailgate bash coming up against, as you said, the Jacksonville Sharks. So they've gotten things all organized with that. And actually, they got when we were talking, and as you can see on the graphic, they're getting other things involved with that. They'll have vendors and sponsor opportunities, of course, for that. They're actually going to have a music act that is very popular out there. That is going to be that's going to be part of that tailgate.
River Mist.
River Mist, yeah.
Yes.
Who I'll say locally they got some accolades in North Carolina. We checked out their website. Should be a pretty fun show from all things we've seen. So they're gearing up for a lot of action on that, and honestly, not just gearing up for just getting this, I'd say the community back involved with Fayetteville, because I mean, there have been attempts in Fayetteville, but I think that this one is the best chance for it to move forward and have a prime time team. But they also have, as you and I have talked at times, and we'll talk right now, they got a roster that they've done some solid work getting a mix of new guys mixed in with some quality veterans or stars on this roster to where they should be pretty competitive out of the gate for this season.
Well, you look at their roster. Of course, Kendrick Ings is on the show today, so he's on the team. What do you expect?
Yeah.
But you look. I was talking to a coach recently, and he says to judge a team that's an expansion franchise, you look at the players that have experience in the game that the expansion franchise is. You can be a 10-year vet in football and never play it down in the arena, and you have no idea the landscape and the mentality. Even Kendrick mentioned it too about the mindset. You can be fast all you want, but if your mind and your mental state of mind's not fast, you're behind. You look at this roster. There's a couple players that pop up that you surprise. You go, man, this guy's been in the league for 4 years. 5 years, and you realize they're offensive linemen, and of course, offensive line, D linemen. When you don't hear their name, that means they're doing good. When you hear their name, that means either they're a savage on the D line or they're a very good offensive lineman. Or if you hear their name on the offensive lineman, you're not doing so well, because usually that's not a good sign. But they do have some guys that like a Von Cross, that's a 6-year vet. Trey Long is 2-year. He spent his times in Carolina. You got Nathan Driver, 3-year vet as well. You have a list of guys. You got Sean Gavett, 6 years, but you have literally a litter of rookie talent. So there's a lot of young talent, but you have the vets like Kendrick Ings, Rakeem Cato, Trey Long, to name a few, and also an arena football vet and Milton Williams, who's coming from the brigade. So that's experience on the back half. You look at a roster and you're trying to establish. We had Mason a couple weeks ago, which he'll join us in 2 weeks for the Jacksonville episode. Just giving you breaking news. It's just, he even said, and he goes, a mindset of a team. Certain teams are designed differently. And Gibson's mind is that he wants to be solid up the middle, meaning running back, quarterback, center, D-line, linebacker, and backside safety. That's how Gibson designs his teams. And he goes, usually some of the good arena teams, they are like that. They have a middle that is solid because to disrupt everything in arena football, it doesn't care about your out receiver that can run a 4-4 flat. Yeah, you can be speed demon if your center and your fullback / running back can't block. The quarterback can't do anything, and that receiver has run that speed doesn't really mean anything. But there are some players on this team like Antonio Penn. Like he is a vet. He's been everywhere in the arena football. Um, but if you look at a lot of these guys and the receiver or the colleges they're from, you got Catapult, you got Shaw, you got North Carolina, you got Winston-Salem, you got Independence CC. I think that's Independence College in Tennessee, Kansas, if I'm right. So it could be a guy from Last Chance U. Don't know. There, you look at a lot of these players, you can tell they're local or they have connections with the coaching staff. And again, with the expansion team, it's so difficult to know what type of team they're going to be because we have not seen them play together. We know what the Empire are going to be. We know what the Sharks are going to be. We know how they were Predators in San Antonio because we've seen them before. Expansion teams are completely different. It's not like West Texas and San Antonio. They've played before and they're now in the league. This is a brand new franchise. So experienced players mixing with some young talent could gel early. It's all depends on how early they can gel and how fast they can get out of the gate. But again, when you hear the interview with Kendrick Ings later in the episode, ladies and gentlemen, he makes a statement that what he said that bit Carolina. They started out of the gate too fast, and as the season came to an end, they slowed down and they got caught and they lost the final game. He's like, you want that, but at the same time, you don't want that. You want to catch on fire at the right time. So when you look at a team like Fayetteville, you have no idea how these pieces are going to gel. But also going from Mason and the people we've talked to, if you're strong up the middle, that tells you. And I think they have a quarterback in Cato, and they have two good receivers in Long and Ings, and you have a guy in Milton Williams. I think is going to be your back safety or that third DB. So you have a guy who can solidify the back end, and those are key pieces to establish in a franchise. You can name players from everywhere, no matter history of arena football. Teams that have big time safeties, or especially in Ironman, are solid two-way players. And the more two-way players that you can play at elite level, the more success you're going to have this season. And it's a franchise, it's a early expansion team, so many questions, and it's like the beef that we've gotten from our power rankings. No respect for Fayetteville. It's just basically how we kind of treated San Antonio last year, and we were introduced to a lot of talent in San Antonio within weeks of the season beginning. And I expect that here in Fayetteville. It's like I think that we're going to know people like, where did this guy come from? Oh yeah, and look it up. And it's we can't talk about stats, we can't talk about numbers, we can't claim anybody on this team as the greatest player, because most of them we haven't seen. We know what Kendrick can do. We know what Cato can do. We know what Milton Williams can do, and we know what Trey Long can do because we've seen them in the act. And there's other players there, of course. I guarantee I've seen these offensive linemen play constantly. It's just when you're watching arena football, you go, "Oh, the guy does a good block." It happens. Like they'll get their names like as a Cornelius Lewis. They'll get like a Ziegler. They'll get as a Brandon Cisse. The names will appear if they go out there and perform and make big plays, big tackles, big blocks, whatever. All sunshine and rainbows. But yes, it's a lot of question marks. But again, like we talked in our player rankings earlier, it comes down, to my opinion, two guys, Cato and Milton Williams. Is your defensive leader going to lead that team? Is your offense? Is Cato? Did he get more experience? Did he learn from what he learned in Orlando last year? Is he willing to make that next step? And now that you have two good receivers in Trey Long and Kendrick Ings, of course, and Antonio Penn, there's a couple players there. Can you establish a mentality early in the year and sustain it? You don't start off on fire. Like sustain it, make it when you're getting to week 10, week 11, you're in the conversation of the playoffs and you're not way in the back. So yeah, a lot of question marks, but still, we're not bashing Fayetteville from our power rankings. There's a lot of questions. And
Look, power rankings, they always get a response, and the thing is no matter what, someone has to be at the bottom of the list. It eventually happens, you know.
correct.
Does that mean you stay there forever? No. Look, I've said enough on this show, and I'm going to repeat again. They have a lot of veteran talent that puts them at a much better position than other expansion teams because we were wondering like who do they pick up? I mean,
Hmm.
having not only a quarterback that showed signs of being I would say he was the guy at times in Orlando, just needed a little bit more, I think, of the game slowed down for him.
Hmm.
There's going to be a good starter there, and he's going to get talent that is solid receiving talent around him. Trey Long, Donovan Raspberry is going to be there, who had his own flashes in Orlando 2 years ago. You can talk about, for example, Kendrick Ings, and as like I said, there's not enough that could be said about Kendrick Ings' impact that he's had in recent years, especially with the Cobras. I mean,
Hmm.
there are guys here that they're going to be able to give them a floor, as well. Defensively, like you talked about, Milton Williams, Chris Page, again, someone who's a contributor over with Orlando. That was a good pickup. That's a guy that I can see being one of their two starting DBs right out of the gate that they're going to have. That's a good floor on that side of the ball. It comes down to those. I think the kicking game, Eric Amaya, who's going to be projected to be their starting kicker, I think that's something that's right now more of a question mark. But if he is a solid kicker and can get deuces,
Hmm.
less being rebounded off the net and get you some points, that'll put you at an advantage. Also, is your front three on both sides of the ball, will it stack up? They do have Russell that they brought over, who had played solid reps with the Sharks, of course. Question is, we'll have to see who else I think kind of steps up into the plate, but that's what we're looking at. Otherwise, I'll be honest with you, like I said, they might have finished seventh in our rankings for the points, but they
Hmm.
do have pieces. Specialty player wise, they got pieces. So you should feel good. I think, like you're talking, biggest thing is, does Rakeem Cato slow his game down and use his talents to where he sees his guys and he makes decisive choices in that process? Because if he can do that, he does less scrambling, is a little less on trying to make something magically happen. I think he could take possibly a Sam Castronova-esque type of step if he's able to slow his game down enough. Because that's what he was flashing last year. There were some
Hmm.
really good moments. He just needed to, less scramble, more pick and throw where needed and find your guy who's open. Because, keep the drives alive, keep the points going, and you can win more arena games that way. You miss on a possession or two like they did in Orlando last year, and contests kind of get out of hand at times. So, plus he gets a fresh start now in Fayetteville. That helps a lot too. He did exit from Orlando, and they had to, and he kind of gets catch his breath. Now he gets to go to a new organization and be the guy and get a new set of veterans around him. So a lot of question marks, I think, in terms of his progression, but I think he has a good chance of doing what we think he can do in terms of making it to where he'll be a guy you're wanting to watch every week.
And for Fayetteville to need that,
Yeah, they do.
um, if he can make that Sam Castronova move, that's pretty good for Fayetteville. That will be for them from that team like, oh, they're just a bunch of plug and place players to a contender instantly because
Mm-hmm.
we seen Cato with that talent. It's just he was a rookie last year in Orlando, and in rookie situations, like what Kendrick Ings says in his interview, you can be fast all you want, but if your mental state of mind doesn't slow down, then you're not going to succeed. And a lot of quarterbacks as they progress in the game, they get better, they learn more, the game slows down. You hear all the cliches of all the the different terms from football coaches and people who again follow the sport. But in the arena game, like you said, the kicking situation, for Fayetteville fans, if you're new to the net rule, go watch some old classic YouTube videos of it from other leagues in the past. They're very entertaining. Like you got Hail Marys bouncing off it that can ricochet. You can have a 14-point swing that's very common with nets where you score a touchdown, you kick off, you get the ball because it ricochets off the net, and you score a touchdown again. That's happened a few times. But one thing, if you're new to the game, kickers in the National Arena League are just not just specialists. They're used as weapons too, because the deuce rule is still in effect. No matter, yes, we got the
And
rebound nets. We
that
still,
rule's growing across the industry, by the
yeah,
way. Just saying, another league adopted it full time throughout
yeah.
their games. So, yeah, you can thank the NAL for that innovation. That is becoming more prominent in the arena indoor scene, and
Hmm.
that started with the National Arena League.
Yeah. And we've seen players in the past, Marco Orozco, uh, Peterson, Bear down here in Jacksonville, and Blanchard. Who's the kid that was it Burrows from Orlando a couple years ago who came into the scene and his first kick in the game was a deuce, and
Mm-hmm.
you got Justin, that who's going to be here in Jacksonville, who played in Orlando last year. Kickers are weapons; they're just not just specialists. But we do want to say that there will be some interesting changes to the kicking rules a little bit. We're going to allow it's not going to be drastic. I just know that there's going to be some interesting rules. They're going to be pretty cool that will make the game more intriguing. So there are certain kickers in the league that like to kick it out of bounds intentionally. Will get penalized even more to make it fair and balanced. So kicking game is a threat in the National Arean League. Again, I'm not going to tell what's going on until it's actually announced official. But I know that there's going to be some rule changes because of the nets.
Yeah, it's just gonna be nice. Like, like I said, no matter who the kickers are this year, and again, like
Hmm.
we talk about this in the question of, we'll see how Amaya is, but stuff's gonna be in bounds, and you're not gonna be worried about out of bounds plays. Like returns are gonna be great because, like, I'll tell you, whoever's returning it, I hope it's Kendrick, by the way, because this is one aspect that the Mustangs will be happy to have is that Ings is an experienced return man. He's one of the better ones to have done it in most of the indoor or arena leagues he's been in, which has really been the NAL and the old AFL.
Hmm.
And he's a deadly threat. Dude's a speedster. So he has plenty of experience getting him off the rebound nets. You'll like to have him for that too. That is an aspect of his game that's important and way more important this year coming with that. So another leg up for the Mustangs that they're going to have is that veteran leadership of him playing pretty much.
Hmm.
It sounds like three spots, possibly three spots max.
Yeah.
Like he'll be vital to make or break as how that team
Yeah.
performs this year.
And there's also going to be players on these teams, especially new young expansion teams that they'll be reintroduced. But there are some vets that may pop out of nowhere and go, man, I've heard this guy. Chris Page, a DB, 3 years in the league. He's a journeyman in the NAL. He can basically, be your number one, number two quarter. But a receiver that I want you guys to pay attention to is Donovan Raspberry. He had a season last year. It was pretty unique, uh, but he's a key guy to watch. He's dude is 5'8", full speed. He reminds me of a Kyler Rashad out of San Antonio. And I think he was just behind so many players and other teams he was with that he couldn't shine. But I think that's a guy to keep your eyes on. And if you want to talk about linebackers, I know we love linebackers here. Watch out for Josh Smith. Uh, I've watched film on him recently. Guy runs around. Guy's 305, a 305 linebacker. Yeah, and D line. So he's going to be playing most likely he's going to be playing the jack. Um, but no, yeah, the jack. He won't play the Mac. But still, there's a couple key players you look on this team. And of course, we are 7 weeks away, so half this not most of this 90% of this roster will stay. A lot of people will get released, so that's what happens in this game. Training camp eliminates a lot of good, talented players. So a lot of these guys on this roster right now, most of them will make the team. Some of them will miss, and others will find new homes in other teams in the league, in our league, or in other leagues. And of course, again, for the fans of Fayetteville, keep your eye on other leagues like the XFL, USFL, and the CFL, because they're going through their drafts and their training camp cuts pretty soon. And you'll see a lot of players find homes in the National Arean League, so keep your eyes out on that too. So this is pre-camp of rosters, but you'll see guys once you get into this team and start watching this game, you'll realize the players that you've seen before: Trey Long, Kendrick Ings, Cato, Antonio Penn, Donovan Raspberry, even Russell
Yep.
that played in Jacksonville. So you'll see people come in and you'll go, "Hey, I remember that guy. I know, Daniel Bender. Like I've seen him before." It's just the names won't recognize if you look at the screen until you see the face and you see film of them. You go, "Oh, that's who he is." So yeah, I think for Fayetteville's sake, a lot of people will go, "Well, they're still the seventh ranked team. How dare you rank them, where they're at?" There's talent there. They have experience. They have a depth of experience, and they also have a lot of rookies. So that will help them grow. There will be a star that comes out that we didn't overlook. We overlooked, and there will be a veteran that will be there. He's done his thing. He's done his time, and he
Mm-hmm.
still does his things. Like Kendrick Ings. Like we were going to have him on an interview coming up pretty soon. Kendrick Ings was a top 5 receiver in the National Arean League last year. He was top 5 in specialist again. Um, and when he speaks in this interview, he has a lot of goals and aspirations this season. Some highly he wants to be not just the Iron Man, he wants to be super Iron Man to the 12th degrees. But you expect that from a player. That's a competitive player. But yeah, for Fayetteville, you tickets are on sale now, ladies and gentlemen. Again, promotion here for them as well. Tickets are on sale now. FayettevilleMustangs.com. The week 2 game against the Jacksonville Sharks is it's the ultimate tailgate party for their
Mm-hmm.
game. So from what I've heard so far from sources is that ticket sales are going very well. And as we get closer, the ticket sales will get even better. They have a nice venue. To the
Yep.
people in Fayetteville, you guys have a hockey team. You guys have an indoor soccer team there. So from those looking at the hockey team and the indoor soccer team attendance numbers, they do support their teams. So I expect a good crowd there. So remember, FayettevilleMustangs.com for season tickets and single games. And I think single game tickets come out March 15th on
Yes,
Ticketmaster.
that was brought up recently. March 15th, they will have single game tickets up on Ticketmaster to be brought up. But
Hmm.
so far, so good. Good. From what we've been told with the ticket amount so far, considering they haven't sold single tickets yet, that is promising. So
Hmm.
nice to hear about that. We're looking for a good. It sounds like it's gonna be a good crowd for that home opener on April 8th, and against the Sharks, by the way, who good good fan base to be playing. It's good team that is one of the legacy teams here for the NAL to be playing against too, to open things up. It's
Hmm.
real nice. And
Yeah,
Gibson's second game is that as the Sharks head coach. So
it happens. It's interesting. Actually, I think that'd be, yeah, we gives the first week we're at West Texas. So yeah, we we like to go on the road and be expansion teams' first home game for some odd reason this season, but still, it's gonna be exciting. But with that, ladies and gentlemen, we've been 30 minutes of talking to the preview of the team. We'll come back after our interview with Kendrick Ings. We'll break down the Fayetteville Mustangs schedule and key games for the 2023 season. And ladies and gentlemen, we were joined no other by wide receiver, DB specialist, top 5 receiver in standings, 2021 NAL first team, offensive rookie of the year. No more
you name it.
introductions. Ladies and gentlemen, Fayetteville Mustangs wide receiver Kendrick Ings.
Well, everyone, it's the moment you've been waiting for as we are continuing our coverage and analysis of the Fayetteville Mustangs as part of our team preview series leading into the 2023 NAL season. And we're going to be doing interviews with key players and personalities and coaches from all 7 teams. We're bringing in a friend of the show, someone that we had on last year. He is switching places, still in the same state, just under a new name. He's with the Fayetteville Mustangs. It is Kendrick Ings, the all-NAL talent himself, wide receiver for the Mustangs. Kendrick, hey, glad to have you on, man. Hey, same state, new places, and trying to build up the sport in Fayetteville, North Carolina. How you doing lately, man?
I'm doing great, man. Had a great off season. Just really been training, working, and spending time with the family, man, and getting closer to God. Just waited patiently for the season to come around. We a month out from camp, so I'm excited. Definitely excited.
Yeah, crazy times ahead. I mean, like I said, you're going to be getting, as I talked about, you're going to be getting into a brand new organization. You know, you were Coach Gunnings, of course. You know, with the Doc himself owning it, Ben Pittman, of course, helping run things out there. How's it been for you so far? We did a pre-talk. I understand that there's some stuff coming up. Camps are coming up in the near future, but you know, how's it been? You've signed on for a few months, so how's it been for you so far?
Yeah, I signed pretty early than I usually do, but I'm just wanting to get it out the way. Coach Gunn, I haven't met him, but I have talked to him a lot lately since I signed. I heard nothing but great things about him. That's what I'm excited about. Like anybody that say anything about Coach Gunn, it's nothing but positive things, and that's a great thing to know. That going into a new organization, knowing that everybody has good things to say about your head coach. Coach Anson, of course, I know him. That's my brother. He's going to be offensive coordinator there. I don't know anybody else. I'm excited to meet everybody else, but as far as the people I talked to Ben through text, but not over the phone. But me and Coach Gunn, I feel like we're going to get along very well. I don't see us not gelling. I talked to Cato. We've been just chopping up, seeing what he likes, what he sees on the field, what I see on the field. I'm happy. I'm excited about that connection. We both from Miami, so you know how we do down there. So I mean, it's time we going live for sure. I got one of my best friends being my teammate this year, Milton Williams. Who got my boy Juju coming back. Got my boy Raz coming. Nate Driver was in count with me last year. I think Jordan, the lineman, Jordan played with me with the Cobras the first year I was with them. So I'm going to see some familiar faces, and I'm looking forward to meeting new guys, connecting with those guys. Just excited to see what Fayetteville has to bring, honestly. Yeah, man, I'm excited, man. It's like every year for me, I go into the season like I'm a rookie. I feel like that keeps me young. I feel like that keeps me young, that keeps me humble, and that just keeps me driven and helps me grind. Like I go into camp thinking like, yo, I could get cut any day. I could get cut every day is cut day. So that's just a mindset I have going into each camp. Like I don't have it made. Like outside looking in, people are like, oh man, he's an 8-year vet. He's 7-year vet, man. He knows the game, which is true. But I don't let that get to my head. I don't think I got it made. I got to grind for everything I have. I've been doing that since day one. Me not going to college, me making it all the way to the NFL, me just playing professional football, period, when I was told I wasn't because I needed to go to school. So, I mean, I've been grinding since day one, so it's nothing new. So I just that's what keeps me going, though. I go into camp knowing, yo, this could be your last day. I've been cut before. I don't want to be cut again. So I go, just because it's not the NFL, it's not the CFL, this is still a professional league. So definitely got to take it serious.
Right. I mean, hey, that's something, you know, you're going with a chip on your shoulder. I feel like at this level, you kind of do get that used to that in a way as a player. At least players I've talked to like yourself. That's kind of the vibe I've gotten for you. And I mean, that's kind of weird for me to think in a sense as like a fan and analyst, because on our sheets, we're looking at the roster. We see you as like one of the top target in Fayetteville. But
I appreciate it.
That being said, you know, you still are approaching it like, hey, you know, you never know what comes up ahead in this sport. It is a cutthroat business no matter what. So you are signed, 100%. But you still got to prove yourself, even if you have that status.
Yeah, and I got a new chip on my shoulder this year because I'm not a Cobra, but
right.
I wanted to be. I think it just made it inconvenience for me. But that's just something that is more fuel to the fire now, because I'm like, I got something to prove. Just to let y'all know I got something to prove, and I'm looking forward to proving it. And this year, what's going to be better for me this year is like, I know I'm going to be playing both sides of the field. Last year, I came in the season thinking I was going to be the OS. The game came around, coach made adjustments, and I'm like, yo, it makes sense. You got two offensive specialists, so you want your quarterback and your center. Mm-hmm. That's cool. So, but I've been playing DB. The first position I ever played was DB. I've been playing DB since I was a JIT, since park ball. DB and running back. I played DB and running back all the way up until my junior year of high school. And then my junior year of high school, they switched me to quarterback, senior year quarterback. And after that, like I said, I tried to go to college, but didn't work out. But I knew I wasn't going to play quarterback in the NFL. So I switched over to receiver. 22? I started training myself as a receiver. And then I just started getting better with my craft, and I just stayed on that side. At DB, man, like they call me Baby Prime Time. I ain't gonna lie to you. Back in the day, I kid you not. If you even look at my gear, my demeanor, it's all prime time. The bandana around my head, the headband around my neck, all that's Dion, man. Like that's my favorite player of all time. So that's all Dion. But what's going to be better for me this year is I actually going in the season knowing that I'm going to be playing DB. So I've been training, getting back, training as a DB. I do Monday, Tuesdays. I dedicate myself to offense. Wednesdays and Thursdays is all defense. Fridays cardio, and I have a whole schedule that I try to stick to as much as possible. With life, it kind of alters with my son from family time and work, but most of the time I'm locked in. You feel me? Like even last night, I went to the gym around 1 o'clock, 12 o'clock a.m. I was off today, so like man, I would just when I'm bored or if I have a lot on my mind, I think that's my escape. I go to the gym where I try to find a field or I just go running. So and I think that's important for us athletes. People in general, just have a positive outlet you can do when life gets hard. You feel me?
Yeah.
So yeah, man. But I'm definitely excited. I got my hips, my back pedal, everything is. Last year I was arguably like the top. I'll say top 5, top 10 DB in the league.
Oh no, I think
I didn't give up much. Now I played a lot of snaps on that side. I gave up I think 3 touchdowns. I had 2 I had really 4 interceptions, but only 2 of them counted. They took 2 away from me. One of them got called back from offense, offsides on defense, and one they called me for PI. I was going to get it was in Georgia versus the Lions. I was going against the 6'8" guy they got, and they called me for PI. That's crazy. The dude 6'8", he came at me and he put his hands on me. I put my hands back and I picked it off, and they called me for PI. That's crazy, man. I'm like, man, this dude, he's literally like he's a giant. David versus Goliath over here, and you call him PI on David.
got a little handsy, I guess.
Yeah, like, that's crazy. But yeah,
you're talking training, so I gotta ask. First off, do you have any insight if you're going to be returning? And second, how do you train? Are you even able to do any training with net rebounds this year? Remember, the Nets are back, so got to be more focused on that than ever again.
Yeah, that's another thing I was thinking about. I feel like it's only maybe 2 of us, maybe 3 of us in this league that have experience off the net. Myself, Beavers. And Prince.
I remember you with the Blackjacks being the main return guy back in the.
I've been returning since I got in the league. My rookie year in Tampa, I was second in return yards and touchdowns behind my boy Brandon Tompkins. He the GOAT. And then the following year, I actually led the league in return yards and return touchdowns. But I'm excited, man. It's just new. It's not new to me. So I mean, if he wants me to return, I'll definitely get back there. That's a familiar place for me. So I mean, if you want me to return, I'm all for it. I get back there and return some kits, and it's gonna be a lot different with the Nets as well. So I'm excited about that. As far as training, you can't necessarily train. And if anybody listening, all my athletes that's going to be playing arena football, one thing you can do to mimic the Nets. Face a wall and just have somebody throw either a lacrosse ball or tennis ball over your head, and you react to catch it. Because that's what it's going to be. That's what it's going to feel like. So if you face a wall and have somebody throw a tennis ball or throw a lacrosse ball at the wall, you have to react and catch it. That's what it's going to be like. Because you got it. Once you kick it, you're going to be facing the kicker. He kicks it. You locate it, see where it's going, and now you got to react off the net because it depends on if the net is loose. If it's a tight net, you got to understand it might hit the bar. If it hits close to the bar and the net is going to pop up, it's different ways you got to, practice. Hopefully they can get some practice with it during camp because I don't know how many people play in the arena or practice in the arena, but it's not hard. Just don't overthink it. Really, it's not hard. Okay. It's just a reaction. And if you've been playing football for since you was little, it's all about reaction. So it shouldn't be hard. It's not that difficult. But
last time we had you on the show, we were live in your practice, and we were visited by many players on your team before the championship game up in Albany. Now that you're in Fayetteville, you are basically the vet. You've been to the title game and you know how to get there. How will you as a vet lead a young team, which it is a young team? A lot of these players, this is a move up in their profession, to have that mentality to pursue a championship, because now you don't have the Carolina squad. You have Cato and you have Trey Long and the other guys. How's your
My
experience
boy
going to
Trey,
lead?
man. I forgot my boy
Yeah.
Trey Long. Yeah.
How you going to lead them? Just like, and plus for you, you have the last football game you played has left I guarantee bad taste in your mouth.
Yeah.
How and now you're in
All right.
Fayetteville, different team, but you still have the
Yeah.
same goal.
Yeah. So basically, I'm gonna bring to like, don't overthink it. Like, that saying, age is nothing but a number.
Mm-hmm.
I feel like it plays a part in football too. Like, yeah, you might be young, you might be a rookie, but I mean, it's football at the end of the day. So, whoever come ready, whoever come prepared, whoever come hungry, whoever come disciplined is gonna normally come out on top. Whether you're a rookie, a team full of rookies, if you have a team full of rookies, a team full of vets, and the vets come in taking it lightly, and the rookies are more hungrier, they make the less mistakes, and they win the game. Then what are you going to say? Oh, it's a fluke? No, it wasn't a fluke. It was just that any given Sunday, anybody could win, anybody could lose. So I feel like me being the vet, I'm gonna be playing DB and receiver. So my job is to make the game simple for these
Mm-hmm.
guys. Let them know that it's a fast pace, but it's not as fast as you think it is. Like, I was blessed my rookie season to have TT Tolliver as a veteran on as a receiver. He was my teammate. TT Tolliver, if you don't know what that is, he's the GOAT, man. He got all the records in the AFL. He's like
Mm-hmm.
played until he was 42 years old. He's a GOAT. And what he told me was like, man, he's like, hey man, Ings, slow down, man. Hey man, you fast. It ain't that fast. It's a fact, but you fast. Just slow down, man. You gotta be full throttle all the time. And that taught me just be patient. I don't have to be. And it played a part in my game now. People always say, "Oh man, you move." I'm really just cruising because I'm just moving at a fast pace but under control. So that's the one thing I'm just teaching them. It's not as fast as you think it is. It slowed down. Because prime example was my rookie season. I caught a hitch, and like I down, like, they hit away. And film session, they chew me out, man. What are you doing? Turn around and get busy. So it's because I'm thinking I'm about to get hit right away. But me learning
Right.
that's another thing. Breaking down film. I'm a big film guy. So to my message to the guys on the team, whoever want to learn Ricky Vets, let's make this game as simple as possible because it's a simple game. Let's have fun and let's watch this film. The film is going to show you everything you need to do. The eye and the sky don't lie. So we go be in camp, and I'm telling them, see, I'm different in camp now. All right, I'm not going to step into that leadership role until we make the final, until we have the roster. As far as camp go, it's cutthroat. I'm not that friendly. I got a job. Like I said, I'm trying to make the team. I'm out here just like you, so I'm gonna be killing you with kindness, but I'm really trying to take your head off type thing. You feel me? So, but once we have the final roster and I'm on that final roster, then I can start implementing everything that I know and try to pour out to these guys, so we all gonna be on one page, on one accord. So we can stack up these wins and make it to the big dance. And now we make it to the big dance and win the big dance. And from me learning from last year, it's not about making it to the big game. It's about making it, but once you get there, you gotta execute. Last year we didn't
Sure.
execute at all. It was horrible, honestly. And I could go on and on. We could tell you why, but I'm only going to get into that. I'm not throwing anybody on the bus and nothing like that. But we all play like some trash. Not all. Okay, I'm gonna be real with you. Not all of us, but most of us play like some trash that game. But yeah, and it showed. You mean you got that butt whoop, but yeah, that's why I feel like I bring to the table. I just want to know it's simple. Um, I'm an open book. You can ask me about life. You can ask me about football, whatever it is you need to know. I'm always helping. I'm a coach on the field by heart. Videos on their Instagram, and I always, if I see something, I always give them their clap for them, give them their props. But I also be like, hey man, you should fix this. You lean in this. Showing them and I expect that back to me. I love criticism. Like I always want to get better. So if you see a flaw in my game, I expect you to tell me just like I'm gonna tell you.
Yeah,
so,
yeah. I mean that's the only way you can keep improving as a squad. I think for yourself, if you want to, in the arena sense, you want to be sure you're filling your role. It's a game that even more so than the outdoor game, it comes down to really those split-second moments even more than not, and that the flow of the game is extremely important to whether you win or lose, and if you can keep that momentum going. So I totally get it, because you're talking. I know you just said you don't want to reiterate too much for the championship, but me being there, that was definitely the case. Like once things snowballed, you guys definitely, at least at that time, it got out of hand. Now you get to. It's weird because leading in the show, we kind of asked, but you told us you're marking those Cobras games down on the map on your calendar, right?
Yeah.
And that's fascinating because you're starting essentially with Fayetteville being new. I mean, we've been talking like this is going to be trying to start to blossom possibly an in-state rivalry of sorts.
Of course,
if you can get that going,
Yeah, 100%. I'm gonna start it off. It is a rival. I don't like. I love y'all. I love the organization. I love the fans, but I don't like the Cobras. You feel me? I can't because I'm not a Cobra. You feel me? I talked to Rob the other day. That's my guy. You feel me? Like even a couple of guys on the team, we always gonna be cool. But once that whistle blow, and we on the other side, I the Cobras, the actual the players on the field. Like you're gonna see me interact with the fans all the time. I don't care where I'm at.
Oh yeah.
I don't care. You hate me, you love me. I'm going to interact with the fans. I think that's just me as a person. I just like to communicate and vibe with the fans. It's a fun game. So, but as far as the players, like okay, I'm gonna give you a prime example. Mike Green, he's a Cobra. That's my brother. I knew him since I was 12 years old. So I'm gonna bust his ass. Excuse my language. My goal is to do him dirty, and he gonna say the same thing. I'm trying to tell you. I told him the first play, if I got a hitch and I'm not gonna try to shake. I'm gonna try to run you smack dad over. The first play, I told him that, and I'm like, wait till the first play. Y'all gonna see. I'm gonna try to run Mike Green wide and smack dad over. He a hitter now. That's my boy. I'm gonna try to demolish him on that first play. But yeah, man, that's the fun of it though, because and then once the game over with, man, we go hang out with. That's my brother, man. I don't do the beef, the drama stuff. Just know it's just a competitive sport. So I mean, that's what it is. It could be my mother on the other side. Ruth, you're gonna get the business. I mean, and then after I massage your foot or something, Mom, let's go get some food. But doing these whistles, I gotta do you dirty.
It's a brotherhood on the turf, but or it's a brotherhood off the turf, but it's business on. They're basically laying that out right now. Of course,
100%. I've been talking somewhere smack that game too.
So the benefit of having that rivalry, travel will be easy. Unlike any other game, it's like down the street.
90 minutes, I think. 90 minutes, an hour to 90-minute drive.
Yeah, it's not bad. Hopefully, you get some road coverage with like teams traveling both ways for fans. That would be really nice.
Man, listen, I talked to a couple of Cobra fans. They said, they're coming up there for the game. They're going to come to Fayetteville. Yeah, so I was talking to Doug the other day. He's a big Cobra fan. He said, yeah, man, we already planned the weekend. We come up there to watch the game. I'm like, that's what's up. He told me I didn't know he was a fan since he's been a fan since I was at the Storm. Like he's been watching me since I played for the Storm. I didn't even know that. I'm like, man, that's what's up. That's how you know, like, man, you can connect so much with this arena, with the arena period. And I made a post on the NAL page like maybe a month ago, just stating the fact to like, I know guys giving this page to promote yourself and everything, and that's awesome. Do that. But promote the league, man. You'd be surprised how many people don't even know about Arena. But once they find out about Arena and they go to a game, they're hooked, because it's a totally different game. And it's in the off season for the NFL, so you're not missing. It was a Eagles fan at my job.
Yes, I was going to ask you about that. I'm glad you bring this up. I was going to ask you about that on this show.
Yeah, man. It was what you want to know. Yeah. I was the Eagles fan at the job, and I was just seeing. I was talking smack. I'm like, man, you ain't no Eagles fan. You got all that. You a bandwagon. Then he was like, nah, I've been an Eagles fan. I'm like, that's what's up. And I was like, man, you a sports fanatic or you just an Eagles? Like, man, I love sports. I love football. I'm like, man, you ever been to an arena game? You like, what's that? I'm like, you don't know about arena football? I'm like, man, it's a team here, and 'cause I live in Greensboro, so the home team is the Cubs. I'm like, man, it's a team here that play in the Coliseum right up the street, man. They play the season coming up in March. You should definitely check out the game. Matter of fact, I played for them the last 2 seasons, but I'm in Fayetteville now. But we do play here. If you want to come to the game, let me know. I'll get you some tickets. And we swap numbers, and I'm pretty sure he's going to be at the game because he texted me after that. I guess he went on YouTube. And YouTube the game, and he was like, I guess he YouTube me or YouTube the game, and he was like, yeah, man, I definitely want to come to the game. So I'm like, bet. So that's awesome. All it is, man. People don't know about arena, but once because they think arena died when the AFL left. When the AFL folded the first time. When the AFL folded the first time, they thought it was just over with. So when it came back, it's all about promotion. It's all about putting yourself out there, talking about the team, not just talking about yourself, talking about the team, the league, everything. Once people find out about it, man, it could get where we really want it to be, where it used to be. You know, they had video games back when it first came out because it's new, but people think it don't exist anymore. But once they found out, man, listen, every chance I get, I'm promoting the Arena League. I'm promoting NAL. Like I tell people all the time, people always ask me, man, hey man, first of all, I think people think I'm still 24, 25, 26 years old. I'm 30. I'm 32. So. People always, I don't look at it, I know it's okay, keep myself young. but I tell people, the chances of me, I still, can I play in the NFL? Yes, I believe I can play in the NFL. I can play SFL, all that. Yeah, I don't put nobody above me because I know if you do the comparison game, I used to do this when I was younger because when I was 22, 23 years old, trying to make it to the league, I would always watch the combine and I will always, because I always tell athletes that I train, be real with yourself. If you're a receiver and you're my size, I'm 5'10", but 75, I cannot think I'm going to play in the NFL and I'm running a 4.7 or 4.6 or I can't bench press 225 2 times or my shuttle can't be a 7 or 6 or 8. So every year I always watch the combine and I'll look at the top times. See if I can match. And like I say, everybody knows I'm fast. And hold on, buddy, I'm fast. So I will match my times. I'm like, yo, if he's doing this and I do this, my times are fast. I bench press more. I can play in the NFL. I can make it. I just need my shot. So I say that to say this. I feel like the NAL, it's my NFL now. The chances of me making it to the NFL are probably slim now because I'm 32. Your window closed at 28, just being real. Your window closed for you to make it. If you haven't been on the NFL roster and you're 28, your chances of making it in the NFL are slim. It can happen. It's possible, but those are the rare stories you hear. You don't hear that every day. So with that being said, the arena for me, I took that as that's my NFL. So I take it very seriously. This is my career, and I'm quick to tell people this is not semi-pro and I not to knock on semi-pro because that's where I came from. I played semi-pro. At my high school, I had to get film. I played semi-pro, a couple of games, balled out, sent my film to arena teams, and work my way up the ladder like that. So by quick to tell people, no, this is not semi-pro. This is a professional league. This is a professional team. We do get to play. It's a game. Go check us out. But like I said, just to say, what I'm trying to say is promote your league. Everybody need to be promoting the league. If everybody promote the league, man, word of mouth travels fast. We got social media now, of course, but word of mouth still travels fast. It's just in social media.
Oh, absolutely.
And that's why I can't wait. That's why I can't wait to go. I can't wait to go down to Fayetteville on the 23rd so I can meet the coaches. And I believe we're doing a little appearance. I think we're going to be somewhere, but I'm all for it. I can't wait. Nice. Anytime I see the team post something, I repost it. Hands down.
Oh, sure. I will be thrilled to see it too. Like I said, getting in the market, it's gonna be great. And you guys lead up. It's about 2 months out, so that's what's nuts about it. Still, it's creeping up on us. Me and Jim have been thinking about it.
Yeah, it's coming up fast. I'm excited. First game April 8th. April 8th,
Mm-hmm.
yeah, April 8th. We play in Orlando. Yeah, so I love playing Orlando too. I love playing down there.
Should be fun one, yeah.
That's a great stadium. I love playing
Oh yeah.
Orlando.
It's a nice arena down there, of course.
Yeah, arena. It is. It's very nice. I love it. I always love playing that because like you said about the rivalry thing with Fayetteville Mustangs, we got to start that rivalry because like when I played for Tampa, Orlando was our rivalry. It's called the War on I-4. Yeah, it was an hour drive. That was our rivalry, so we got to make this a rivalry for sure. Cobras versus Mustangs. I can't wait for y'all to see these jerseys. They're so dope.
Yeah. So you've seen the jerseys because we're waiting on that. That's I think the next lot of people are wondering about those.
Yeah, I hope we do it. I want to do a dope reveal. I hope. Like I said, I'm gonna wait and see. When I meet the guys, I'm gonna see what they're trying to do. I'm gonna definitely mention it to them. I'm like, man, what y'all doing about the reveal? Y'all need me to model one for you. I got you. I've done it before. I can do it again. Let me get in them jerseys and spice it up so everybody can see. But y'all gonna like them. Yeah, I believe y'all gonna enjoy it. The color combination is sick itself within itself. That teal and that gray, and then that black. Whew.
Ooh,
I already envision what I'm gonna have on and everything. But yeah, it's gonna be dope. But I think that's definitely gonna be a rivalry. So, but yeah.
Okay.
So Kendrick, seeing that your young one behind you is in need of your attention, we're gonna wrap it up with you today.
Hello.
So what's up? So
what's going on? What is, I know this is the same lingo from everybody, your expectations of the season for every team, especially at Fayetteville? This is a new place, new destination. What's your mindset entering this season and capitalizing what your goal, personal goal, or the team goal mindset for you this season is?
You want me to tell you about every team or about Fayetteville?
No, you. Just you. This is Fayetteville.
Yeah.
This is Fayettille.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
But listen, I go. It don't matter what team I'm on, where I go. My mindset is to win. It's to win it all. Football is my favorite sport. It's my heart. I have not won a championship in football. I got a ring in track. Got a ring in basketball. I don't have a ring in football, so I'm still seeking that ring. Of course, I've been to the dance 3 times, 2 or 3 times. Yeah, one with the storm this past season. I mean, we was close to previous season made playoffs. So yeah, my mindset is winning. We win at any cost and win when it matters too, because we can go. It don't make sense for us to go 8-0, 9-0, 10-0, 13-0, 14-0. First week of the playoffs, it don't matter what your record is. You lose that game, you're done.
Yeah.
So that's the thing. I want to peak I want to peak at the right time. I want us to peak. I want us as Mustangs to peak at the right time. I don't want us to start hot, then go cold, or start. Whatever we start, I want us to be consistent. I want us to be consistent. We winning, let's be consistent. I don't want to be consistent with losing. That's the only thing I want to be consistent with. But if we winning, let's continue to build, and then know that we have to elevate even more when that first playoff game comes. But we do got to win a certain amount of games to make the playoffs. So winning is the most important thing. So that's my mindset going to this season. Win. Do your job, help others get better, and win. We got to win at any cost. Have a winning record so we can make playoffs. So that's the first thing. Let's worry about making playoffs. We got to win to make playoffs, and then when playoffs come, that's a whole nother elevation in our game or mindset that we got to go with. But as far as my individual stats or accolades, I was never that guy. Like, I gotta have the ball, I gotta do this, because I'm a playmaker. I'm gonna make plays. In the arena, you're gonna have opportunities to make plays. I'm gonna be on the field. As long as I'm on the field, I'm gonna make plays. I'm never that guy like I gotta have this, I gotta have that. It's good to score. It feels good to contribute to the team winning. Yeah, but like I told a couple of my players, teammates last year, if I don't score 1 touchdown, we win the game, I'm happy. If I score, because I've been there, I've scored 6 touchdowns in one game and we still lost. I mean, come on now. I don't care. I'm still upset. Yeah, I got a good game, but this is not an individual sport. This is a team sport. If I had 6 touchdowns.
Note that one.
Can you hear me?
Yeah.
Yeah, you're good.
I'm gonna give y'all something just so y'all can have some juice. All right, I expect myself to have at least 15 touchdowns. I would like to have 20 plus. All right, let me tell you what I would like to have. I would like to have 20 plus touchdowns. I would like to have over a stack of 1,000 yards receiving. I would like to have 4 to 5 interceptions. I would like to give up no touchdowns on defensive side. And if they had me at return, I would love to take about 4 or 5, lead the league in return yards and return touchdowns. Like, I want to be the best. So I want to lead matter of fact, I want to lead in all categories. Offense and defense. That's my goal. I want to lead all. I want to be the best of the best. And I feel like me being the best, the team will have to only win. We will have to win. Let's take Prince for example. Can y'all hear me? My headphones down. So let's take my boy Prince for example. My boy led the league in all categories both years. And what did his team do? They won the Arena Bowl, you know. So shoot, that's the mindset I'm on. If I could elevate myself to that thinking and just win and like lead the league in all categories, then we might win it. We have no choice but to be at the big dance and win it, you know. And then have my teammates on that same level. I mean, you know, it'd be great. All my teammates. We the best game I had, I think, this year. The most fun I had. The most fun game for me this year was when I think all the last year, I think when all the receivers had won a game. That was the best game of the season for me. Everybody scored. All the receivers, the starting receivers had a touchdown. And ZB had a touchdown. ZB had a rushing touchdown. And Bain had a rushing touchdown. So we was like firing on all cylinders. And at the end results, we won. You know? So I mean, so I have goals for myself, but the main goal is to win.
All right.
Hey.
Yeah.
Hello?
Technical difficulties, but we're good.
Yeah.
Well, Kendrick, all I could say is we're thrilled to see you back in the league again, and honestly thrilled to see you as one of those main guys leading the charge for Fayetteville this year. Can't wait to watch you play. You know, and hopefully soon enough get to see those fancy new uniforms out there as well. But yeah, man, thank you for your time. It's been a pleasure having you on the show.
I appreciate you, man. Like always, I appreciate y'all. I love y'all. I appreciate it. We are building a friendship. Let's keep this thing going. Matter of fact, if y'all want to do this again, let's do this again for camp. We can do a live one like we did for last year before the game. Let's do a practice video when I'm at camp before like getting ready to practice. Let's do that. I'm all for it. So just let me know time and day is good for y'all. We can make it happen, man. I appreciate y'all, man.
Always.
Bless up. And we one step closer, one day closer to getting this season cracking.
Oh yeah. All right, I think that'll do it. Hey, once again, special thanks to Kendrick Ings, wide receiver, DB, team specialty player, possible return man for the Fayetteville Mustangs. All around great conversationalist. We love talking with him, and glad that he is going to be on this roster and trying to, as you can hear, promote the game. That's the thing. It's the sport doesn't get enough promotion, I feel, sometimes as it is, like he was saying. And so it's great to hear someone like him, that story about talking to that Philadelphia Eagles fan. That was a cool little nugget, kind of saying like, hey, look, I got my chance to sell someone on tickets. Now someone's going to come to a game now, and that's kind of what he and others are going to be doing, is they're building up the fan base in Fayetteville. That's what is part of this whole new expansion opportunity, is you're trying to establish a base and show off arena football in another market, one that I think has plenty of potential, as we have seen. So it's good to hear.
Well, the state of state of North Carolina, like state of California.
Yeah,
Jesus.
I was waiting, like, sorry. Okay.
There goes Jim's little blooper of the day, ladies and gentlemen. Yeah. I know.
Oh,
I know.
how dare you? How dare you?
It's North Carolina is a football state. You look at all the universities there. Depending on who you talk to, it's a basketball state. Yeah, it's a football state too. And the Fayetteville is rich right there. There's a college for Fayetteville State. They have a football program, so hopefully, promotion helps a team organization league, and the more what Kendrick said, word by mouth. You tell somebody, they tell somebody, they tell somebody. The reason why Jacksonville is so successful with their fan base, the reason why the other arena leagues, arena teams and other arena leagues are successful is because they have history of being in A, existence, and B, they do not stop promoting.
Mm-hmm.
And you'll see that, and especially here in the National Arean League, Albany's good at it, Orlando's good at it, San Antonio's great at it. They keep pumping out content. The more content you do, more eyes you get, and people get drawn to the game. That's what and Ings brought that up.
Yeah.
When they find out, oh, they're here, they get to the game and they're hooked. Me, I went to a random Orlando Predators, New York Dragons football game back in the day, and that got me hooked into the sport that I love today. So,
And me going to a Columbus Destroyers game
yeah,
only, now, Jesus, it feels longer. It feels like longer than that, but only 4 years ago. So,
yeah,
you know,
it's a sport that we need to get more fans to, and honestly, it's word by mouth does it best. It's players need to stop promoting themselves and promote the league. Thus, more eyes be on the league, and thus we'll get stronger as a league. And
mhm,
plus, the community right now in this and for our sport is popping right now.
it
There's a
is.
lot of buzz, and this is a time to capitalize on it. Yes, we've been around a couple years, and we're like, yay! It's time to capitalize. It's time
Hmm.
to do it. And Kendrick Green's made a statement. And of course, he's a football player. His job is not to promote. His job is to go out there and play. And he made bold statements. He wants to be literally what I mentioned before the interview. He wants to be the super saiyan of Iron Man. He wants to be everything. He wants to be the best DB, the best wide receiver, best everything. And you expect that from a player. If you don't expect that from a player at all, excuse me, I just had a strange hiccup. Ugh. My bad. Blooper. That was I don't understand that. What happened? That's a blooper reel, ladies and gentlemen. We're still alive. But anyways, it's funny, but at the same time, experience, his mentality. That's what you need from football players. That's
Hmm.
what you need. You have that from a football player mentality that spreads on your team, that builds character, that builds what your team's going to be. Especially what he hinted with the jerseys. Maybe we have something dropping pretty
I think.
soon.
Well, I think that's what I'm now got me. Where I think I'm fascinated because he kind of, even before we started recording, and then leading in, geez, you are just dealing with this right now. We're just gonna roll with that. Is that the
My
jerseys
bad.
that I'll be honest, the jerseys we've been so talking about just prep for the season that hasn't been brought up as of yet, but that's got to be coming up soon. I can't wait to hear about these. He's got me pumped for this color combination that they're setting up out there in Fayetteville, and I mean. The teal, they got the gray, the
Mhm.
gray turf with the gray accent they're going to be having in the uniform. So that should look really snazzy on
Yeah.
broadcast. So
I like their
yeah.
logo. Their
Oh no,
logos
their logo is really clean. It's a
their
clean
logo's very
graphic.
nice. Yes.
Yeah.
And if you have a clean graphic and you have a clean logo, um, that's half the battle. Because I know a lot of people make fun of Oregon, like, oh, they're just an average football team, but their logo and their brand and their jerseys is what sells kids to that university,
Mm-hmm.
and that does translate to the professional level. Like, that's the thing. There's trends. Why do NFL teams every single Thursday or Wednesday or Saturday announce their team combinations? Because that's a thing now in sports. It's what's the combination your team's wearing. And I think you have that type of jersey, you have that type of brand that sells, that gets people to buy jerseys, that gets people to buy your team colors. And again, if that combination, it's pretty exciting because
Mm-hmm.
I can't wait to see it because I can't wait to blast it. We've seen other jerseys throughout the league. It's a part of the game and it's part of the sport.
Yeah.
So yeah,
Right.
that's honestly from a perspective from the Fayetteville side of things, a hype video, a reveal, like having one of your players actually walk out to I want to say pep rally with the announcement or whatever. I think that can, really, energize a fan base,
Could.
energize a
Yeah.
community, and it also brings more eyes to the product. And what Kendrick said, he's like, "Hey, I'll go out there and walking around in the jersey right now and let us do it." But yeah, for me, I'm looking forward to it because that's the next drop for the jerseys. They're the only team that we haven't seen any jerseys from, but uh, it, it's the joy of covering arena football, honestly.
Right. I'll tell you, like I said, the jersey announcement will add some extra hype. Obviously, they're hyping up that big tailgate coming up on the 8th. So they got plenty of stuff on the table that they'll be, kind of like ramping up social media wise that they've been doing more and more lately. So not to mention, of course, you can promote the Nets again. Big thing for all the 7 teams we got to bring up. You can promote the Nets this year. That's a win in itself. Saying that you got arena football back in your building. That you get to play in a league that has that squared away. Speaking of games, Jim, we're going to do this with every team, by the way, and we'll basically diving deeper into what we did with the schedule, but with team-by-team basis. Let's go into the Mustangs' key games for this season, which, again, if you are looking for tickets and are trying to keep an eye for those single tickets, make sure that you are going to FayettevilleMustangs.com, and eventually once they get the Ticketmaster for the single game up, they will have those up as well. FayettevilleMustangs.com. You can also contact their ticketing department, by the way, so be sure to check out that avenue as well if you are looking for season tickets. So, key games. Let's take a look at the schedule here. Pop that bad boy up on the screen. So, there's a few options right off the bat, I think, that kind of stand out. And I think the first one, we'll just throw this onto the gate. I'll throw it on the banners. Is that week 3 matchup, but the second game of the season for the Mustangs against the Sharks. It says week 2, but we meant game 2. So here's the deal. First off, it's their home game, their inaugural home opener. It's the ultimate tailgate. Second, as we implied, it's a good kind of litmus test start. You get Orlando right out of the bat, who, as we've talked, they have a lot of, they got a lot of great specialty players surrounding them out there. So week 1 for them will be great. But like week 3, aka their second game, though, you get the Sharks, who another, steadfast quality organization, as Jim knows, one that has been consistently successful in the league as well, and home opener, which they are prepping up as well. So that's a key game right out of the gate, I think. You got to mention it. We did feel wrong to not, because it's their first home game of their organization's history.
Well, you expect that. It's their first home game. And if they do go out in week 1 and perform well and pull off an upset in Orlando, then that week 3 game, the second game of the season for Fayetteville, will be huge. And of course, you're playing home against a organization that it's a legacy organization of the game. It's the Jacksonville Sharks. They are, in the words of a certain coach, they are the New York Yankees of arena football, because they've been there, they've done that, they win championships. Now, that could have just offended off a whole fan base up north, but it's not my words. It's going to be a key, because now Fayetteville is going to start this game, and you're going to go up against a Jacksonville Shark organization that's led by Jason Gibson. And knowing Jason Gibson and knowing his mentality as a coach, you're going to have one of the best defenses in the league come into your building. And he's told me and he's told fans that he built his defense to stop mobile quarterbacks. Cato is a mobile quarterback. That's going to be a key game for the Fayetteville. It's not because of who they're facing. It's the introduction of the team in the city. This is where you get fans of the game and you sell the game to them, thus bringing them back for more games and later in the year. And we can look at that schedule again. Of course, the bye weeks are just, plentiful in the first half.
Yeah, real early ones for them. Although they do have a slightly later one in the schedule, which, I mean, the NAL, as we know, that was one of the key themes, was a lot of buys are earlier. But there's, week 11 bye ain't too bad. That's good for a stretch run.
Of course. And they're one of the 5 NAL teams that have 14 games. As remember, there are 2 teams that have 12, and Orlando and San Antonio. But again, you look at the schedule, how they did it. The 5 teams, you have 2 teams you play 3 times. In this case, they play Albany and Carolina 3 times, and the rest 2 times. But speaking of that, I think we can we're going to claim this. We're the first one to say it. So if Fayetteville steals it or Carolina steals it, the Carolina Rumble series, that would be their next key matchup. It's because it's going against the Carolina Cobras. It's a 90-minute drive. Where we here the Inside the Walls are going trying to make this a rivalry between the two college between the two teams, because what's better in a league is more rivalries, and in-state rivals hold more of a grudge, because hopefully West Texas and Antonio become that. Jackson and Orlando already have a history, and hopefully we have this here with Fayetteville and Carolina. The reason why I think this is big is it help that both communities, Greensboro and Fayetteville, really to embrace both teams. Greensboro's been there, done that. They've won the championship before, but a little Fayetteville, try and get respect on the name. Basically, the way to do that is you win your series in state rival series.
Yeah,
and hopefully the Carolina Rumble. That's our name, Carolina Rumble. They can come up with a name. They won, but Inside the Walls has done that. That's us. And Carolina Rumble. If you hear that anywhere else, they are fake news. Anyways,
okay.
but also to wrap up the actual key game. This is one that me and Zach kind of agreed on, because I'll say the reason why. I think if you remember, you go back to their schedule. Week 10, they are at Jacksonville. This is what we like to call, we have it as our slate on the season. When we get there with the podcast, that's going to basically be our separation Saturday, separation Sunday week, because that's basically the halfway point of the season. And the second half is either you're a playoff contender, you're going to try and compete for playoffs, or you're falling further and further behind the pack. Week 10, they're just coming off of a 3-game road trip to recently the 3 top teams in the league. 3 teams that made the playoffs last year in the NAL: Carolina, Jacksonville, and Albany. That Week 10 game at Jacksonville is not because they're playing Jacksonville. It's, will you suffer 3 straight losses, or will you get that win on that road in Week 10 to salvage your first half of your schedule and have a potential in the second half of the season with 4 of the last 6 games at home, and especially Week 17 at home against Albany. That's a crucial stretch there. You win that game in Jackson. Let's say if they're hovering right there at a 500 record, and they're coming off maybe 2 losses on the road, and you go down to Jacksonville and you beat Jacksonville on the road, and you're still hovering around there at 500. Then you have that bye week. You get healthy. Possibly some other players pop up on free agency warrant, and you grab them, and boom, in the next 6 weeks, you have 4 of the 6 at home. And if you're cooking at home, as the new kids will say, are cooking, if you're cooking at home, then you have home field advantage. Then that 500 record at that halfway point, you're +2, +3 games above 500, and that's clearly a playoff team in the NAL, because 500 gets you win. Honestly, it's 7-7. If you can get 9 wins, that's definitely in. And having a back half schedule like that with 4 of the 6 at home benefits especially early team. But that first half of slate is going to be difficult, especially that 3-game road trip.
Yeah, that 3-game road trip midway through the year before you hit that Week 11 bye, pretty brutal. If you can steal, honestly, if you're sitting at like 500 or maybe a game or two above 500. Entering that week 11 bye, I think you're in a pretty good spot with the remaining home games like we're talking. So that stretch, that Jacksonville game, it's not only important, I think, for, say, tiebreaker implications, but also just like you're talking, just seeing if they can end on a strong note going into a bye. Like I know that, bye weeks help you rest, but it's good to have a win on your back to where you can kind of get that confidence boost for that end of the year run that you need. And again, you have Albany 2 of those last 6 games, and you are facing them twice on the road. But like you said, you want to have yourself prepped and ready to go, especially, again, if it comes down to a tiebreaker scenario, because, again, we only have 7 teams in this league. So you really want to get your wins against series if you can. The Carolina Rumble series, like you're talking, it's crucial for in-state rivalries. It's a about 90-minute drive for each side, and it helps with fan bases. But really, say, Fayetteville wins that series. That's big if Carolina's right there. Say they win the series or sweep against Jacksonville. That's big for playoff implications right there if it gets tight. These are things you have to consider. So the Albany series, like you're talking, and to me as well, they get through that first stretch. Say they happen to steal one of those 2 away games. That's good for their chances in that end of the year, say, spot if it happens to be crucial for their playoff implications. A lot on the line. But, I think at the very least, that 3-game road stretch, once they get through weeks 1 through 6, 7 through 10 will be weeks 1 through 7, 8 through 10 will definitely be a test on this team's mental. But if Charles Gunnings has his crew in order and say Rakeem Cato is hitting on all strides at this point through the year, they have good shots right now. Like I said, veteran crew they have on that roster. So they have good shots if they can steal some games or, straight up just win and make them look good. There's shots, there's possible chances here.
Yes. And also I want to give a shout out to Discord user JPen for doing the graphic for our schedule. I appreciate it. So forgot to do that when I dropped it.
Much appreciated.
The schedule is, we can look at the schedule and say, oh, these are key games. These are just like the week 10 game in week 10 at Jacksonville. And we're just doing that because that's the make or break for separation Saturday, separation Sunday, what teams are going to be the top half and what teams are going to be in the bottom half. And that's why we can see who can be contenders or not. But then again, the season as it is right now, we really don't know who or what game is going to be until we're 3 or 4 weeks in. We're going, oh yeah, that's why. That's why this game's crucial. It can also change, but to the National Arean League, it's called the Carolina Rumble Series between Fayetteville and Carolina. So that's going to be fact. There's no negotiations. That's the Carolina Rumble Series. But speaking of that, earlier today, if you were watching social media, we made an announcement of games of the week. Every single week, during the year, we have the people, the fans, our listeners vote on what game is what. We're going to have a little stipulations on this year, so we're more evenly balanced between the games and who we have on the show, what interviews we're going to have. People ask, what's the game of the week? What do you mean? The game of the week is the show. Usually the host team of the game of the week will be the theme show. We'll have a player, a coach, an executive of that team on, breaking down, talking and interviewing them about who, what's going on, how the season's going, our interviews, but during the season. Some weeks on the game of the week, so be selected, they'll be made, you will get a week of properly announcement on Wednesday of a live reaction live stream. It will either be me and Zach, it'll be me and Justin, who's going to be our guys going to run our social media, or it's going to be me and Mason or whoever. It's going to be one of us for one random Saturday or Friday night doing a live reaction to an NAL game. But that's not going to be every single week. That's going to be on selective games based on schedule and availability. But game of the weeks on Inside the Walls are theme shows. But the limitation is this. There's 7 teams. We have 24 weeks until we get to playoff push, which is the final 4 weeks of the season. We're going to do a minimum of 3 teams get at least 3 times, 3 showings. There might be games where the host team has already been on 3 times. That means we'll interview the opposing team. But how we're doing the game of the weeks is me and Zach, Mason and Justin, and some outside help with the league will announce our game of the week for a certain week, 2 weeks out before that game week. So with that, if you saw the announcement, we already announced our first 3 weeks of the season for the games of the week. So to the people who are introducing the game of the weeks, let me play the video and see. We'll be back after this.
I should say Gunslingers Empire, I'm instantly
Mm-hmm.
just excited. Look, last year those matchups at the end of the season, and that that was with Robert Kent being under center, who was lighting
Correct.
it up at the time. You're going to see pretty much a similar Empire squad returning, and now Jonathan Bain getting into the mix.
Correct.
That one, I mean, look, I love the other two as well, but that one straight away, if you're a fan of the NAL and you saw that one as the week 3 option, you're probably salivating and be like, yeah, that's definitely my game of the week. Those two, that's gonna be fireworks.
Yeah.
I am thrilled to see those fireworks.
And for the PAR podcast listeners, the week 1 game of the week is Cobras at San Antonio Gunslingers. Week 2 is the Orlando Predators traveling to the Albany Empire, and week 3 again, Gunslingers and Empire. So there's that back-to-back teams that have already been on twice. So we might do something unique there. We might get possibly 2 players from both teams. We'll talk to Bain, talk to someone else, or talk to Castronova, whatever. Well, it's going to be, hopefully, it's an early season matchup that we can really hype up. And it's one of the key matchups in the schedule anyways. It's between those 2 teams, especially how close all 3 games were, and especially Albany's first loss was to San Antonio earlier in the year, last year, first week, or the first loss, I think week 6, I think was, don't remember. But still, crucial games. Those are 3 games. Again, we'll announce week 4 around and after week 1, so we know who's going to be matchups. So for you Albany Empire fans, I say that we don't give you guys coverage. We have your team preview the final week. Then we have week 1. So it's BAM, Albany. Then I think Albany, San Antonio, followed by Albany, Albany. So Albany Empire fans, the first month of the season is a lot of theme for you're going to have a lot of Empire personnel here. Possibly return to Levesque, possibly return Gaz, Coach Manas, Coach Castronova, Darius Prince, name a few people who've been on the show before. Also some new guys. And if there's some new players you want us to get, ladies and gentlemen, message us at NWalsPod. We will happily reach out to these players and get them on. We have a couple guys lined up for Orlando who are new to Orlando that we've gotten. We're excited for that. So again, NWalsPod, Facebook, Instagram, YouTube, Twitter. Get a hold of us of any players that you want on the show. We will get them on the show. But again, that is our 3 game of the weeks for week 1 through week 3. So that means the season is just around the corner. Yep. And next week, we head west to Odessa with West Texas. The announcement of the interview of that player or coach will be later this week. So, yeah. So it's getting close, dude. We're 7 weeks away. And the season, blink of the eye, we'll be there. Blink of the eye, dude. We'll be, chilling somewhere and hopefully in Jacksonville for a championship game. Just joking. Soon. Yeah. So very the season will be season's there, bro. So yeah.
Very soon. So it'll be exciting. Yep. Next week, folks. Odessa folks out there in West Texas, you'll be getting your preview. But yeah, again, Mustangs fans, we'll drop this on the screen before we head out on the way. Remember, you can check out. You still have a chance to kick up season tickets right now at FayettevilleMustangs.com. Contact their rep out there, which I'm going to get that really quick for you just based on the front office staff. Their ticketing and merchandise manager is Naomi Raymer. She is they're VP of ticketing and merchandise. So I would recommend you reach out to that office, check in with them, get your season tickets, and like I said, it sounds like it's going to be so far so good in terms of leading up for the home opener from what it sounds like for sales, from what Jim's told me and what he knows. So, join in with the crowd, and season tickets go on sale March 15th. So you'll be able to, if you want to just go out there for that to start, get a taste of it, maybe you get more enticed, that's the game to do it. The ultimate tailgate will be out there as well. So without that, I think that about covers it, Jim.
It's only so much we could talk about Fayetteville and their schedule. To the fans of Fayetteville, welcome to the National Arean League. And hopefully you guys interact with us because we'll interact with you. And especially the 3 preview show or 3 theme shows we'll have with the Fayetteville Mustangs throughout the year. We'll have more players, more coaches, and more executives on to talk Fayetteville Mustangs football. With that, ladies and gentlemen, I am Jim Mernier. That is Zach Kyleman. This is Inside the Walls, episode 84, Into the Stable. And we'll see you next week as we prepare for war with the Warbirds of West Texas. See you later, ladies and gentlemen.